Hello, friends, and today we're going to talk a little bit about balance. And if you're over the age of 50, I don't have to sell you on the idea that your balance isn't quite what it used to be. And part of that is just normal deterioration in the muscles, and part of it is our culture, our lifestyle. If you're over the age of 65, then you should be aware that 1 out of 4 people over the age of 65 experience falls so severe that they end up in hospitalization. So, with that in mind, isn't it worth investing a little bit of time in order to build better strength and balance in the system? I know what the answer is for me. Balance is a combination of strength, stability, and coordination. We want to mold all these 3 things together. Balance is achieved over time. So we don't just move right into balance. We work on it incrementally. There are 2 types of balance exercises. One is called static, where we do not move the body. We overload the muscle by shifting the weight onto one leg and building strength over time in that way, shifting it from leg to leg. And the other exercise is called dynamic balance. And what happens in dynamic balance is when we move the body. We move the body off center and create a bit of a challenge, but it's at that point where we start bringing the strength together and start developing the supportive muscles that create that action. I often tell my classes, kind of tongue in cheek, that if we want to prevent falls, then we have to practice falling. And what that means is that we have to put our bodies in a position where they can strengthen. There's an old saying again that if you put the body in a position where it hasn't been before or is not used to going, you're more apt to get hurt. And balance is just like that. As we start to fall, the body gets into a position we're not familiar with. And so we want to familiarize the body with positions that are not normal, not standing up, but actually off center. And I'm going to demonstrate those 2 positions, the static and the dynamic. So the first exercise is called static training, and we're going to build this standing leg by just shifting onto that right foot. We're just going to come up onto the toe. And you'll feel the difference. And then over to the other side. Just learning to shift the weight from one side to the other. And that builds strength in that standing leg. And then back to center. The second type of training is dynamic training. We're going to use a chair for this. So we're going to hold onto the chair with the right hand. We're going to take the left leg and just reach it back and lean forward. And again, we're taking the body off center. Then over time, as we get stronger in this position, we'll just bring the arm back and back to center. Let's try that on the other side. Grabbing the chair with the hand, bringing the leg back, bringing it off center, and then maybe playing with taking the hand on and off the chair as we build the strength in the standing leg. Eventually bringing it back behind us and back to center. Static and dynamic training, both are important. So this balance is built over time, but we have to spend time creating the balance by these exercises. And the secret is to be consistent. So if you could do this particular exercise I just showed you, the static and the dynamic, 3 times a week with full confidence that over time you're going to build the strength, you're going to build the balance. Then you'll see some amazing results. Shifting the weight from one side to the other will build the strength. Taking the body off center will build the strength. But putting those two together in dynamic movements, those will really build the strength. And so when the body goes into a position where it's not used to going, you're much more apt to catch yourself and bring yourself back to stability. So now that we've covered balance, let's move on to the next step. The next step would be flexibility, mobility, the ability to use our muscles in different ways in the garden, reaching for things in the cupboard, reaching for things on the floor, simple little things that we do every day, but in a way that maybe isn't done enough to really lengthen those muscles, so that we end up sore or we end up retracting from what we're actually trying to do. And so let's take a look in our next video on mobility, flexibility, and see if we can create some ways of bringing us into a more healthy, more mobile body.